Hey Clashers, the first player is on 8,000 trophies in the bidder base, which is crazy. And today we're going to take a look at his attacks, at his strategies he is actually using in those high trophies, and the base he's running to somehow defend a couple of those top attackers. Let's dive in, starting with the attacks, and then at the end of the video we're going to take a look at the base and how it's actually defending. First attack, and there might be a big surprise. Okay, I'm kidding. There's no big surprise. There is going to be a lot of Pekka in this, but what might be a surprise to some of you, that there is a giant as well in the mix. As well, I want to explain in this video a bit more about what the thought process is behind those attacks, because this time I don't have to attack alive. I always feel like that you enjoy the live attacks the most when I'm doing them on my own, but when others are doing them, I can talk a bit more about the thought process behind. And the first thing I want to talk about is the choice of the hero. Why is he going with the air hero, even though there's an air expo? The reasoning behind that is pretty simple. We pretty much have no firecrackers in this first stage, which means there's all of the firecrackers in the second stage. So if he has the ground hero then for that, there is literally no defenses left which can actually damage then his ground hero. So he wants to use the air hero in the first stage. That is one of the most important things regarding the hero choice. After that, why is he going with the ground? Well, a lot of times when you can really get nice value with the bomber, the Pekka are just incredibly strong. And I feel like this is as well why the Pekka are just overall that strong. I just think stats wise, they're not on the weak side, that is obvious, but I think overall they might be just fine. The problem though is that bombers will just open up the entire base. We can see this in this example, okay? He's going to play the ground battle machine. With that being said, he's taking the cannon right here, and he can open pretty much the entire base with his first bomber. This is crazy value, and I feel like if there should be something nerfed or maybe changed, maybe that's the amount of bounces the bomber has, because I feel like with opening the entire base, there's little to no counterplay then regarding the Pekka. That's at least kind of my point of view regarding the Pekka, even though I know a lot of people just say that Pekka are just overall too broken. Little nerf, I mean, I wouldn't complain. That's all what I'm trying to say. But overall, really nice first attack by Gaming Guides. Really nicely done. As well, a huge shout out goes to him for allowing me to share those attacks and give you guys a nice little insight on what he's doing up there. As well, what he said is that he is facing pretty much most of the time the same players with the same bases. So it's always like a mind game about traps and everything. And this is the next thing I want to talk about, and that's then how risky certain troops are. Pekka or Baby Dragons, that are not as risky. Regarding the cannon cards, well, they are really strong, but you can really easily bait them, as you have seen in one of my last videos as well, where I got baited really heavily with my cannon card. This can always happen, and well, this is always the risky part. With Baby Dragons and Pekka, this is happening not as often. But now let's dive back into the next attack. The important thing about Baby Dragons is their splash damage. What is he going to what is he looking for in this one, and why is he going Baby Dragons against an air expo? The reasoning is how this base is set up and having all of the important air targeting defenses really close to each other. So with having the air bombs, the air expo, and the Mega Tesla all close by, he can use the hero ability, which is dealing a ton of damage, and then can use like 2 more Baby Dragon abilities and take down the entire core with that. So even though this base looked like really anti-Baby Dragon, with just the setup of how he was overlayering the abilities and the splash of his army, he was just able to just get through this first stage with no problems pretty much overall. And this is the important thing. The Baby Dragons is not about oh, this guy's not having any air coverage, so I will go with no, this is not the important thing. You can defend air the air Baby Dragons, that's what I tried to say. You can defend the air Baby Dragons quite easily if you really spread out the air targeting defenses. But most of the time, people are just putting them into the core close to each other, and this is then really problematic because their splash, this is exactly what they're supposed to counter. The stacked core bases. That's why I went in with that. The next stage now has all of the firecrackers, as we have already talked about in the first attack. And we see this stage pretty often because a lot of people use the same defenses in the first stage, which then always means the second stage is pretty similar because this is like a setup. A lot of them had quite success with it. At least that's how it seems like. But what exactly is Gaming Guides doing right now? And why is he having an archer camp in here? The important thing is the top side. There is a troll builder test on the outside, which is there to prevent or like make sure that there's time fails possible. Like okay, this corner hut is going to get overlooked and you're going to 99. This is kind of the approach here. But with this corner hut, this means that one firecracker at the top side was exposed. As well, the next thing what he was able to do is really make sure that he can directly target the other firecrackers with his baby dragons, which is huge because this is saving him a couple of seconds. Overall, archers are pretty strong, even though you should not use all of your army camps in the archers, but overall just the supportive army camp of archers can be really strong because they are dealing a lot of damage. And you can see in this one, the test on the back end even got finished by one of the archers. So overall, really solid troop, which as a supportive tool is nicely added in any army composition, to be honest. But with the next attack, we want to take a look at the Pekka again, because overall I just think that a lot of people are struggling right now to defend against them and sometimes maybe using them. So first off, I will share one more attack from Gaming Guides, and then we'll take a look at his defense and why certain things are really important to mention when trying to attack or defend with this troop. So on this one, you can see the common setup. This is a really important setup which a lot of bases should have, which are the crushers, and then right in between we have the guard post troops. And they are just so important because the guard post troops are actually making sure that Pekka are staying on top of the crushers for a little bit longer. The crushers can deal a ton of damage to Pekka, and if then the Mega Tesla is even in between of those two, that can be a big problem. So what are you looking for when attacking with Pekka is to find a way to avoid that. So what he did on this one is he actually used a giant. A giant is going to directly target the crusher and is going to tank it. The first good thing. The second good thing is that the giant with the first punch is dealing a ton of damage, which means the crusher is already damaged by quite a bit. So one ability of a Pekka can actually kind of take it down. With this setup, you can take down overall setups like this really efficiently, which is really important to note when playing Pekka. So there's a lot of small detail things which you really have to like take in consideration when playing those Pekka at a really high level. Even though this might sound strange because for most people it's just like spamming in and closing the app or something like that. But let's now take a look at the second stage again, which I feel like, as I said, overall, this setup is just super popular overall. A lot of people like to use it. I don't know why, but take a look at this. The bomber is opening this entire base. This base at this point is only one big compartment. And I feel like this is somehow a bit too strong. Yeah, maybe you can nerf the Pekka as well a little bit. I don't mind too much, but for me, really, the bomber is a really big problem for ground attacks because it just feels like it's opening way too much, considering that it's like a... You can use this multiple times, this ability, right? And it feels like still like one of the strongest abilities in the game. Well, you can reactivate it and reactivate it every 22 seconds, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. So on this one, again, great, nicely timed ability of the hero of the battle machine, which is important because you want to take down those zappies as quickly as possible because they deal a lot of damage if your opponent is actually having the auto outpost leveled high up. 5 zappies with a lot of damage on your troops, that is not easy to overcome. But now, those attacks, well, they made it look easy, okay? And in those videos, typically, you always see those successful attacks. So let's share one attack actually on the base of Gaming Guides, which is using the same setup which we have just talked about, and we are going to witness a Pekka attack on this base, okay? So we have again one of those bases with the setup of the 2 crushers on the side. In between we have the guard post troops, and we have an attacker going in with the Pekka. He's as well using the giant, which is important, but take a look at this. Take a look at how hard it is for those troops to get through those defenses. We have a double cannon here as well. Double cannon, one of the best defenses to take down Pekka. And take a look at those. Those double cannon just take down defenses left and right, and it just takes too long for those Pekka to get through the defenses to actually get the damage in. those back and hog rides, they're not going to make too much of a difference, to be honest. Like, Pekka would have not really changed anything here if there would have been more Pekka. But overall, really great setup, really great base. If you want to copy it, Gaming Guide shared the link with you. It's down below in the description of the video. Thank you so much for that. And as well, thank you so much for him for sharing all of this with us. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. And I hope Void is not going to be too angry at me. I mean, everyone is fail. I had a ton of fails in monsters as well, so I think he's not going to be too mad at me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much, and until tomorrow, see ya, and bye-bye.